And just like that, we back in the building, ready to rock for the rest of the season. Rockets are facing the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight, fresh off of All-Star break. This is the post All-Star stretch run for the Houston Rockets. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, let's put a little chill music, man. I feel like putting some chill music on for us right quick. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, more like that. More like that. What up, Meg? What's going on with you? My man Chris Gorman. We waiting for you on the live, bro. We waiting for you. But yeah, man, it's your man's AK Infinity. Follow me on Twitter /X at AK Infinity _VVS. Just like there was an all-star break for the Rockets, there was an all-star break for me too. Cause man, pre-game, damn near every game, and halftime damn near every game, and sometimes a post-game. Plus doing some little videos in between. Yeah, I needed a break myself. But we back, recharged, ready to go. We rested up, ready for the stretch run, trying to make these playoffs. I might do some post games after every playoff game too. I might. I'm gonna consider it. I might do a post game for every playoff game. But we gotta be. I tell you what, if we actually make it and be a top 4 seed, I'm gonna do a post game for almost every game. I'm gonna try to do a post game for every game. They ain't gonna be long, but I'm gonna do a post game for every game. Some might be live, some might not. I might do drop a video for like the next day or something. But we'll see. We'll work it out. We'll see how that look, man. What up, King? What's happening with you, bro? King say finally some actual good content. I've been dry clicking on random videos out of boredom. It's all good, man. It is all good. I needed to rest up myself, bro. I needed to rest up. All-Star weekend. So check this out. So I watched a grand total of 0 minutes of that All-Star weekend. I ain't watched the Rising Stars dunk contest, 3-point contest, the All-Star game on Sunday, whatever else they had in between. I ain't watched none of it. Nothing. Nada. There was no way. What up, Clips?
Yes, sir. How we doing, man?
Man, we back and ready to rock for the stretch run, bro. What you think, man? How you feeling?
Cool. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling real good. Where we at? Where we talking about?
We just started, man. We're gonna kind of run through expectations for post All-Star. We're gonna talk a little bit about where we've come from over the last stretch. Jabari coming back, Fred coming back soon. Jabari coming back tonight, actually. Fred's supposed to be back, I think, Monday? We're gonna get through the whole 9, man, but I kind of wanted to start off with that last that slide that we was on before the All-Star break, man. What went wrong during that little slide, and what are you expecting to be different after this break?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. Rockets Round Robin, man. Best place to get. AK, man, thank you. You know what? Thank you. You're the best pregame. You're the best pregame out there. Ain't nobody doing pregame.
I'm only pregame
like you are, AK. Man.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, bro.
So I had to give you your flowers. I have to give you your love.
Appreciate it, man.
Anyway,
so appreciate it.
Out the way. The slide. I mean, we can almost account it to injuries. I think I'm at a point now where that with all the data that we've gotten over the amount of time that we've had Fred VanVleet, and when we've had him had him out for a short amount of time, we've struggled to. The offense has looked pretty much when Fred went down, that's what I expected. That's right. So I believe that we're just seeing kind of what we already know. And I've kind of, believe at the beginning of the year, I was more down on Fred. I wanted to see more of a developmental, whether or not Amen could take over that role, and it still looked good. Still, get to the spots where they're needed. Alp get to his spots and be getting the ball on the move, different times, and getting it in the post at different times. And Fred's so good at that, and we just need him. We just do. And I think I've accepted that fact. So over the slide, we lose Fred VanVleet. The offense is obviously going to be clunky. Jabari Smith, I mean, how many times can we go over the fact of how much of the little things that he does that allows everybody else to do all the big things? And I mean, hey, where's my apology letter? I need to sign it and put it Fort Worth, have it notarized and everything. I'll be the first to say I was down on Bari to start the year, and I didn't see his importance. I didn't notice that he was allowing other people to kind of free roam and do what they needed to do, and covered up for a lot of mental lapses and physical lapses, as we say, as well. And so I apologize, Jabari Smith Jr. You have proven me wrong. You have made a believer in me. And I am so excited to have Jabari back. So, long way of saying, I believe that the injuries had way more of an effect than we are. My confidence level wasn't shaken at all by the slide, because I could see it coming with that injury. With the injury, so I would say the injuries kind of kept my confidence level a little bit better, and knowing that what we got is pretty good. And when we slid, we didn't slid real bad. Those games weren't bad losses. Those are close games. We just couldn't close them. And we add a Fred VanVleet, we probably win those games. You add a Jabari Smith, we probably win those games. You add them both, and we probably win them handily. So recent slide isn't kind of shaking me at all. I'm pretty confident coming back, especially with the fatigue and things like that. So, no, I'm not too concerned with it, not too worried about it. Glad the All-Star break came when it did, and excited for the uptick here.
All righty. I can't wait too, man. So, interestingly enough, the Rockets are getting healthy sort of at the right time, and they have the 9th easiest schedule remaining. They got 27 games left. The record of the remaining schedule is 49.1%.
Wow.
Yeah. So majority of the teams we playing are going to be below 500 teams, but at the same time, a lot of the teams we just lost to in that losing streak was below 500 teams. So we'll see if the injury excuse was real or not. We're going to see if it was real or cap. We're going to find out in a little bit. But real quick, we're going to get into some nuance. But before we do, 27 games left. What's our record in them 27 games?
Give me 17-10.
17-10.
Like you just said, give me the quick 17-10. Sounds good right now. Not looking at the schedule, I think that gives us a couple shaky losses. Beat some good teams, but start to play our best basketball, like you said, get healthy at the right time, and then start to play our best basketball, get chemistry all locked in, and everybody playing at 110. They could be at exactly the right time, the way it's looking.
Maybe I'm being a bit of a positive Pete, but I'm gonna say 20-7. That's probably asking too much, or maybe it's not.
No, I'm not shocked at that. I really ain't. I know, like you said, 19th schedule. I think it's like the 3rd in the West. I think they're counting the Lakers in those, and Denver. Denver will be some good matchups, good test, but the Lakers, they don't scare me so much, especially what are they going to do with Alperen? There just doesn't – some of those teams in there that they're counting for their records, I think there's a lot of changes, right? Like, how many times do we have to play Golden State again? Maybe one?
I think we might be done with them for the season.
Yeah.
I think we might be done with Golden State. So
right. We have the tiebreaker with Memphis.
Uh-huh.
We're up 1-0 on Denver, I believe, right? Didn't we beat Denver?
Yeah. We beat Denver.
Right. We're 3-0 on the Clippers.
Yep, 3-0 on the Clippers.
Memphis 3-1.
We got the Lakers twice. We got Denver 2 more times. We got OKC 2 more times. We got the Pacers 1 more time. We got Clippers 1 more time. We got the Bucks 1 more time. Those are our 5. Is that 5? 6 hardest teams left. Now, the easier teams, we got Pelicans twice, the Utah Jazz 3 times, The 76ers once, Bulls once, Spurs once, Hawks once. We should, in theory, we should sweep all of them bad teams. We should.
I mean, they got to be in full tank mode now, especially with, like you said, San Antonio with Wemby out. They're going to have to, probably put Fox, go ahead and have Fox's hand surgery and try to go into full tank mode, which is going to put other teams into full tank mode. I always
they just beat the Suns, though.
I know, but you really think they want to do that? I know that the percentages, start to, I think they're at a 3% chance right now. And I think if they could fall 2 more spots, they could be at an 8%. And, that's better. So, and all they got to do is put Fox on the shelf, right? So if Fox has got a bad thumb or a bad hand, so if they could just, give him his rest, or I'm not sure exactly what he needs. But what I'm saying is once you start tanking and it starts to get closer to it, the full tank mode starts to come in effect. And you're now starting to tank against people, actively. And a lot of these teams have won some games they probably shouldn't have won. Portland put on a good little streak there. Brooklyn, they're still in the playoff spot. So, Atlanta's going to be trying to push to win. So I think that the tank off, it gets to be really
tank off.
Teams really start to lose. We saw some of the worst basketball we've ever seen at the second halves of the season with these young Rockets. So I don't expect, very great competition from those tanking teams here on out.
Okay.
Right? What are they going to do? And winning games right now is really a really rough thing for them. Teams like Chicago, Portland, Utah, they kind of really need to lose games. We've seen how bad it can get.
So in the Western Conference, the only 2 teams in the West with an easier schedule than us is the Warriors and the Timberwolves. That's it. Everybody else is in the East.
Happy to get out of the play-in, right? So
yeah,
they'll shoot for that. How can they hold on? Can Minnesota climb out of the play-in? I'd be interested to see. Can Denver kind of hold on to that 2 spot of Memphis?
What does Dallas look like?
I think Dallas is about to be a free fall, right?
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, what? But my problem is, who do they fall for? I mean, who steps up, right?
What are the Kings like? Let me look at the standings.
The Kings are above them. I think the Kings are in 9, Golden State in 10, with a similar record, if not the same, and then Phoenix, and then San Antonio, Portland. So none of those teams are really coming.
Phoenix is out to play in.
Right. And they're not coming, right? And then look who below them. Isn't it?
Spurs, Portland, Jazz, Pellies.
Who's coming?
Man, ain't none of them teams on the streak. I mean, they on losing streaks, but
so you can just about lock in the top 10, right? Would you say that?
Golden State, Sac, Dallas, Minnesota, they all in the play-in. The question I would say is who in the playoffs falls to the play-in.
I'm not saying that where they're locked in 1 through 10. I'm saying you lock in those 10.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so who is going to chase us down? Golden State? How far back?
Nah. They 16 and a half games behind first place, bro.
Okay, and how far are we? 10 and a half or 11?
10 and a half.
All right, so there's 6 games out of us.
Yeah. Same with Sac.
Yeah. They're not.
Then Dallas is 5 games, 4.5. Minnesota is 3.5.
Minnesota could, right?
They, in theory, yeah, but that means the Clippers and the Lakers got to fall off too.
Okay, there's the Lakers. There's the
Lakers are possible.
They're
Clippers,
falling.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think they're falling. I think the Clippers will rise. So what I'm getting at all this is the 5 seed pretty much looks in hand for us. Would you agree?
Yeah, but quiet as kept. The Nuggets on a 9-game win streak.
Yeah, but we're not
longest in the league.
They'd be above us, right?
They would. So we wouldn't even. So if we stayed at 4, Yeah, that would mean we will stay at 4. But Memphis on a 2-game losing streak right now. We'll see.
How big is tonight's game? We have the tiebreaker over LA, where we have the first game over LA. We need to get the tiebreaker over them.
Yeah. We need to tie with the Minnesota Timberwolves too, because they up 2-1 on us.
We need to win tonight.
Yeah, this is a must win if I ever seen one.
Otherwise, this puts our play in jeopardy. Puts us in the play in jeopardy, at least with tiebreakers, right? Wouldn't it be nice to have that?
Yes.
Yeah. To me,
I think we out of the play-in talk. By the way, I think we straight playoffs now.
Okay, so
that's why I keep saying we ahead of schedule.
Yep. Yeah. So if we tie with the Lakers, we get that, get that 4 seed because of the tiebreaker. We're pretty much locked into the 4 seed or the 5 seed if we can.
The Lakers are so fake though, man. They're such a fake team. Like their point differential is 0.8. Bruh. That's cap if I've ever seen it.
Look who they played.
And then teams behind them have, like, the only team behind them that has a lesser point differential is the Golden State Warriors at 0.3. Kings are tied with them at 0.8. Mavericks at 2.2. Minnesota at 3.4. They inconsistent as hell too.
Under Minnesota, it's a mid-off.
Yeah, it is. Really, anybody before the whole thing between 5 and 10 is a mid-off. To be honest, I'm saying that. Watch us fall below that.
in my opinion, I think we're destined for a 5 or a 6, maybe a 4. All right, if Minnesota puts a charge on. Well, no, when Randall comes back, I can't. They were struggling with Randall, and now that Randall's been out, they've been looking better.
Yep, I thought he was going to get moved at the deadline, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. So the way they bring him back, is it going to bring that chemistry off again, and is that going to start having?
I hope so.
It seems like we have a lot more answers, and they have a lot more questions, right? Like all the teams,
most definitely.
At least teams under 3.
So it's kind of like they took like a gap year after trading Cat.
That's
like they took a gap year. So we'll see what they do in the offseason too. But I don't really know what their options are, but we're going to find out. We'll see. Durant to Minnesota?
Yeah, I predicted that they were make a run at him. You're old, and it was you that made me think it because you give that old, there's smoke. When they get to talking later on, later. And there was a lot of smoke about Ant wanting Durant, and they were making a lot of phone calls this deadline about it. Now, was it really possible? They didn't have the contract to send out. They can't aggregate them. But in this offseason, they'll be able to.
Interesting. So, since you brought it up, what's the framework of that deal?
Simple. Randall, he's on the similar timeline as Booker, so you could sell it, right? And send him Jaden McDaniels, the contracts would that line up perfectly. Send them those 2 guys. Phoenix still has some options. You don't have to give them a bunch of picks. It's almost like a reboot, reset timeline. They can afford it. They can slide 2 players in there for the Durant 1. Give them the 2025 Detroit pick. That ain't fit fun to you. It's lottery. I think it's going to fall into the lottery. So give them the 20th pick. Phoenix can get them, a big man late in the first round that may be able to help them and kind of go on from there. Does that interest you more than the Kevin Durant fiasco that they got?
Now, let's say in theory that actually goes down. How does that affect the Rockets? Does that make us more of a player in the Booker sweepstakes?
Not
if
this
there's
year.
A Booker, not this year, obviously, but like an off season.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't think. We got their picks 27 and 29, so I think it just puts them down the line into next year. They still would have to make it work, right? Like it would still be a 1-year Randall, Booker, McDaniels, Beal combination of some sort, Richards, whatever they got there. And if they can make that work and good enough for Ishbia to be a contender, maybe not. Maybe, it to me it kind of resets them a little bit. And whether they want to go into, I just can't see them saying, "Hey, here's a full rebuild package for Kevin Durant."
Hell no.
26, 27-year-old Booker and a 31, 32-year-old Beal. And I just don't see that being a sell. And if Booker's there for the long term and they're planning on keeping him, the Durant deal, it doesn't look like to me is going to get you, is not. Why would you want a rebuilding type of package? Why do you want a ton of picks back or, guys that can't help you now? And a Randall on an expiring after next or after this year, he'll be on expiring next year. Give it one shot, see if it's worth paying him, or you can get him on a lower deal. It makes sense to me. Randall and McDaniels, you get a wing defender. Look and shoot.
I mean, the thing about Randall is when he's on the court, he'll produce, but your team won't win. And then when he's off the court, your team will win while he's not there. So he's just putting up pretty little numbers.
It's something different than Durant.
It is. But this is not me comparing the two players. This is just me saying what areas of the floor they like to occupy. Randall and Durant more or less occupy the same areas on the court. So how different do you really play? You'll take less threes, obviously. And then Randall doesn't offer enough on the defensive end. And I think that's really what the problem is going to be. And even worse in Phoenix if they do a deal like that. Like, I'm good with it, though. Like, I hope they do something like that so they be worse. McDaniels cool, but what about when Randall on the floor?
Yeah, he'd be on the floor with him.
And I don't think any of this even matters until Phoenix saw their point guard problem. Tyus Jones, as good as he is, he's a backup. I don't care what nobody says. You said what?
He's Fred VanVleet.
Ooh.
He gets the guys into their spots. He doesn't turn the basketball over. He plays solid defense. He stays in front of his man. He makes you guys share over the top. That's Tyus Jones. That's Fred VanVleet.
I trust Fred way more on defense than I do Tyus Jones, though.
I know, but the age of it, right? Like, obviously, Tyus still has some years to develop, and Fred's been around some of the best players, Kawhi and Lowry and Siakam, some of the good guys that can kind of learn how to get those. I mean, that's the best thing that Fred. If you put me on Toronto back then, what are you going to do? Right? You're going to try to get those guys, figure out how to get those guys the ball in their best spots. And so that's what Tyus does. That's what Fred does. And
Tyus Jones is a free agent this summer, by the way.
Yep. And he just took $5 million to stay or to go to Phoenix.
Now let me ask you this, and this is just me spitballing, because I don't really know if the cap would allow anything like this or not.
I'll tell you.
But let's say we don't come to terms with Fred VanVleet on a deal, but he and Tyus Jones are both open to signing trades. What do we do in that situation? Is Tyus Jones a good guy that we want to go after?
Yeah.
Sell me on it. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm not saying I'm for it. It's just a thought that might be realistic. But sell me on it.
He's the same thing in my opinion, right? And he's obviously going to be cheaper. You know me. My biggest fears is that we're going to sign Fred VanVleet to a Dillon Brooks type of deal, and it's going to be a tough contract to try to get off of without adding value to. And I love Fred now. I don't want it to sound like I don't like Fred, and I value what he brings to the table, especially on this Rockets team. He is exactly what Ime Udoka needs. He's what Jalen Green needs. He's what Alperen Sengun needs. He's what these young guys need to get them organized. But that's only going to take us so far. We know that. We've always known that, right? Like when we brought here to change the culture. And at some point, we are going to have to hand these keys over to these young guys. I am more of a proponent to go ahead and do that sooner rather than later and live with the consequences as as it's been. And I am in full agreement. I'm wrong about that, wanting to do it at all this year. I don't know that it isn't worth trying to do it next year, but I would take a Tyus Jones. Therefore, we could kind of maneuver with his contract so much more, and we could allocate him to the bench if Reed Shepherd were to take the next step, or if Amen Thompson were to keep his hand a little tighter and be a little bit more of a headier player and not just be a downhill threat. I just think more of more untapped potential that we're going to have to kind of figure out and let ride and develop at some point. And all we're doing is kicking the can down the road with Fred VanVleet, and it's making us a good basketball team. But if we were to turn the keys over today, I just don't think we're ready, right? And are we ever going to be? I don't know. I think Tyus Jones could maybe kind of be a stopgap to find out when that time would come, and it would be a lot cheaper stopgap. So yeah, Tyus Jones, give me that.
What you think about King's comment? I hear a lot of Rockets fans really wanting Trae Young, and I'm just like, what? I get y'all probably playing with him with the Rockets on 2K, but I'm gonna need somebody to sell me on it on the court, logically, not 2K wise.
Jalen Green is a flashy basketball player, right?
Yeah,
he gets a lot in our fan base. Got a lot good to say about Jalen Green. Some of them pretty much die for the fella. I think that the flash is important to some of these younger kids, right? Some of these younger fan bases and some of these more casual type of players.
They're gonna call you old school for saying that.
I get it, and that's fine. But the flashier type of players are much more wanted. And yeah, I mean, Trae Young would be great. But if you notice why Trae Young is so good is because he's winning close games, right? But he's always in close games. That's always it. You have to play that very close style. You can't stop anybody on the perimeter, especially when it gets late. He gets hunted. And so he has to be that superhero. And that's what's required because the defense is what it is, right?
You have to insulate him.
So if you had Jalen and Trae Young I just don't see that being a defensive backcourt that can win you playoff games, especially with an Ime style offense.
Right? King say he's not sold on Trae because he like our defense dips horribly. He just want our take. Yeah, my take on Trae, just hell no. Like we can't. We got Fred and Dylan to come over here and revamp the culture. So you just gonna bring in Trae to throw all that away? Like seriously, like I get that he's a cute little player. You know what I'm saying? He does cute things.
Gosh.
But how much? I mean, people looking at that one time when they beat the 76ers in the playoffs and they holding them to that. They thinking that that's gonna happen if he come over here. It's absolutely not. And let's say that happens when he comes over here. There's a point of diminishing returns because that's not gonna repeat itself. Number one, because you need Jalen Green and Amen Thompson and Alperen going to be the guys that are taking us forward. That was the whole point of the rebuild. Like, I think a lot of people got this idea in their head that we drafted a bunch of these young guys so we can go and trade for somebody who's more established. No, we got a bunch of these young guys to see which one of them is going to establish themselves. That's the way I'm thinking. That's just me. And then
never done that.
Yeah, right. And then Trae gonna come over here. You're gonna have to make a lot of concessions with your roster construction. You're gonna have to make a lot for it to make any kind of sense. And Ime Udoka gonna be pulling out his hair, his beard gonna turn white overnight, dealing with Trae Young. He's not an Ime Udoka guy. It's not a good fit at all. Ime Udoka might go slap Rafael Stone if he do something like that.
He doesn't fit with Şengün at all.
He don't fit with Şengün at all on either end. Like, imagine putting Alperen Şengün and Trae Young in a pick and roll. Like, that's money. That's cash money all
Free.
day. Take it to the bank.
Free. You're just asking and begging for that. I know.
AP, if you're gonna say something like that, you better come up here. You better come up here and defend yourself. I'm waiting. He said, King said, I've been saying everybody advocating for it because of the All-Star game. Yeah, it's because just wanted to hear a logical answer as opposed to trusting a comment section. Man, comment sections are some of the worst things in human history. That's my take on that.
Rockets fans have CTE about little guards knocking down threes, and they think that everything that they see that does it is the next Curry, right? Like Dennis Shepard, the cocaine Curry. Now that we're clamoring for Trae Young, I think we're just so tired of seeing it happen on our end. They just like, hey, you know what? A guy that can make those long threes. Let's try to have that on our team for once.
Yeah, that's nice, but that in itself is not going to win you games. It's the stuff around it that helps. How are you going to generate them long threes? Like, you know what I'm saying? People look at the end of the play and they're not looking at the process of a play. I think that's kind of the difference between the way some people look at the game. Like a lot of people just see the end result. They don't care how you get there. I kind of care how you get there because if it's not something that's repeatable over and over again, if you can't spam it, how reliable is it? You know what I'm saying? And I get that defenses can adjust to you, but you got to have a bread and butter. And what would be the bread and butter if Trae Young came over here? What's up?
I'll give you a name. James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
What if you call James and say, hey man, opt out of that thing. Let's do it. I'll give you that 1-and-1 deal and won't kick in until Barry kicks in and let James cook here.
Man, Ime ain't want him before. He ain't gonna want him later.
Told him we wasn't ready, right?
Yeah.
He said,
but I ain't gonna lie, I would consider it because James doesn't necessarily. I think he would be so good for Alperen Sengun.
So good.
You see what he's doing with Zubats?
He'd be good for Jalen Green too.
He'd be good for everybody. Like he'd make everybody look good.
Amen.
They're gonna have to make him look good on defense, though.
Yeah, but I think we could.
Does Jabari take a defensive leap?
Yeah,
he's been good this season. I wouldn't call it a leap, though. If he can take a defensive leap,
Tari, but you could surround him with Tari. You'd have to surround him with the lengthy defenders, right? If you surrounded him with Amen and Tari in lineups, you'd be fine, right? You know that. Amen, Tari, Bari, you'd be okay. And Sengun, you would probably be okay and cover upable, right? But what if you put Bari, Tari, and any group of mixed match group of those guys? Dylan, Jalen.
I don't think Dylan would be here.
That don't work?
I don't think Dylan would be here in that case, in the first place.
You don't?
Nah. I honestly think Dylan gone in the summer.
I know you've been talking about it.
Yeah, I think we just got to prepare ourselves that he's gonna be gone in the summer. It's gonna suck, but somebody got to grow into that. And I don't think it's necessarily. Let me just clarify what I mean before people start calling me a Dylan Brooks hater, because that is absolutely not the case. I think it's gonna be a matter of somebody taking his spot rather than him just actually being ass. You know what I mean? I think because people think it's Amen that's taking Jabari's spot. No, he's taking Dylan's spot. That's whose minutes he's supposed to be sucking up.
Dylan Brooks, Cody Zeller.
He said Cody Zeller. Is he gonna play?
Listen to me. Dylan Brooks, Cody Zeller, and Jock Landale. And then you let Tate, Holiday, Jeff Green, and you re-sign Steven Adams. Listen to me. You re-sign Steven Adams to the same contract that he's on now. So $12 million.
Swear.
You would have enough money.
How many years?
You would have enough money for a max level contract plus another $12 million. You could get, if you traded Jock Landale, Cody Zeller, and Dylan Brooks for Kevin Durant, and you re-signed Steven Adams for $12 million, you still have another 10 to $12 million to play with. You have to deal with a Fred VanVleet. You have to deal with a Aaron Holiday, and you would have to deal, you'd have to secure those three roster and Jeff Green. Those three roster spots would have to be secured. But you could do it money wise and financially.
Whew. There's gonna be a lot to talk about at the end of the season.
His is 52. Right. His is the high end. His is the 52 million per. So there's plenty of stars out there right now that are in the 40s.
Speaking of stars, I'm finna start this comment from King because boy said fentanyl Fournier.
Oh my god.
My oh my oh my. I am at a loss for words, boy. That's wild.
You ain't lying.
That's wild.
The sample size is similar to Kentucky's now.
Yeah.
Even if you count the G League, he's shooting like 26% from three.
If you count the G League, ain't he shooting like a blazing number from three in the G League?
The sample size is similar to Kentucky, like I said. It's not good, man.
It's not right now, but young guard, we'll see what that look like. My thing is, I thought at this point, and it still may come, the season's not over yet. I thought he would show a couple of flashes where it's like, oh, I can see that being a staple for him in the future. I'm not really seeing a whole lot right now. It could be how he's being used, but also it could be he hasn't earned the trust of the coaching staff to get different types of reps. He's been used off ball way more than on ball, which is something I did not see coming. He being more of a 2 than a 1.
I think Reed has been gotten a bad shake, right? Obviously, you're dead on. You're right. But he's been the guys that Reed needs to play with haven't really been there, right? He needs some floor time with Fred VanVleet. He needs to kind of understand it and feel it and be on the court and play with him and see how he does do it, right? And I know that's not a great matchup for us having those two smaller guards. He may have shown a willingness to do it. But who covers up for Reed the most on our team? If you had to say who would cover up for Reed the very most?
If I had to guess, man, let me think at it. Probably Amen Thompson.
Amen or Jabari?
That was going to be my second guess.
Right. A lengthy back end defender that could help him cover up when he gets the blow-bys, right? That was when he was on the court. Watch for the blow-bys. That's what Ime's looking for. And those blow-bys that he would go on, there is absolutely no rim protection when you have either Steven Adams at the level as we play most of our screens. He's not getting back in time. It really looks bad when Steven Adams is on the court and Reed's on the court because the lane is wide open for them faster guards and Reed can't stay in front of his man. So he blows by and it looks like just a wide open layup. It looks rough. Then when you have Alperen Sengun on the floor, he can help him a little bit, but he can't help him on the back end as well. Amen can help him on the front end, but he can't help him on the back end then. So if you have Jabari and Amen on the floor with Reed, you will have the back end protection, the back end smarts, the communication to deal with the blow-bys. Amen can step through and help out. Dylan can step through and help out. We just haven't had the right personnel for Ime to be able to put in there to give Reed his best chance. He has it now. Now that he's back, I think he has it now. Reed hasn't gotten a lot of minutes early, and then Jabari got hurt. When he finally got some minutes, he was kind of playing with the mixed match roster. If he could get some real minutes with a little bit of time with Fred VanVleet, and he can get that real roster out there, your flashes may come.
But why haven't those flashes even come in garbage time?
because he's not what Ime is looking for in him, he's not getting, right? He's asking him to not let the offensive side of the ball, just like he says with Jalen, affect what he does on defense. Reed is not winning at all on defense. He's getting blow by, he's getting shot over, and it's really rough, man. And he's not getting any help from some of his team defending. So I think Reed has a chance with Ime having to be able to sub through and deal. We're talking about Trae Young having a difficulty defense. This is worse. So everything you said about Trae Young, apply that to Reed Sheppard now, and then make him a rookie. It's really highlighted.
So let me ask you this. This is probably going to piss off the analytics people, but that's fine. Why are the analytics for Reed Sheppard not translating immediately the same way they did for Tari Eason? Because Tari Eason was also our analytics darling.
Go look at how many point guards started on that Kentucky team. Okay, there was 4 real point guards on Kentucky. Everybody wants to talk about Dillingham and Reed Sheppard that went into this draft. But the guy that started over them could also play the 4. Reeves,
yeah.
He could also play the 4. He's taller. He's a better guy to hand the ball to than a smaller guard. If I'm the coach, they can all play point guard, but this guy's 4 inches or 5 inches taller than these other 2. Yeah, I'm giving the ball to that guy. Okay, but he can also play the 4. So that gave Calipari at the time a chance to be able to play these guys that could all move the ball and they could spread the floor and pass the ball around to each other. Reeves was setting screens for Reed. He was coming off, right?
And Dillingham.
Setting those screens on 1s and 2s. He was having a lot of space at Kentucky with guys that could knock down shots. Dillingham was a self-creator, could attack off the dribble, could knock down jumpers. Reeves could knock down jumpers. Obviously, Reed could knock down jumpers. And then they had a spacing big man. They had a great lineup. And then they didn't have very much competition. You know the best defender that Reed Sheppard played against in college was? Dalton Connect. They played Tennessee twice every year, right? Reed shot like 1 of 9 in that game. Go look at the schedule. I did this with.
I remember somebody bringing that up. It may have been you that brought it up, but I remember somebody else bringing that up.
I went through the entire. I went through everything with Reed, and he wasn't the pick at 3 because of what you're asking him to do. They were comfortable, and they thought that Fred was going to be able to envelop his toughness and his ability to stay in front to Reed. That's what they were hoping for. I mean, that's pretty obvious.
Now, obviously, it is still early, but I'm going to say this. Folks that have been watching me for a little bit, they know I was a Dillingham guy, and I'm going to tell you why. I get that Reed Sheppard had the analytics and the three-point shooting and all that, but Dillingham had a three-point shooting too, number one, and Dillingham could go get his own with nobody's help and no one's assistance at all. He didn't need a screen. And at the end of games, if you watch Kentucky, at the end of games, who had the ball? And who was producing at the end of the game? Not just having the ball. That's not enough. Like, Dillingham was getting it done at the end of games. To me, that held way more weight than any of them analytics numbers for Reed Sheppard.
They were outscoring a lot of people.
Right.
But it's a very offensive-heavy team.
True.
They're shooting the lights out of it, and they weren't guarding anybody. If they were going to beat them, they were going to beat them by shooting and making threes. And they were a very spread-out group. They didn't have a lot of big men on down low, so they kind of
pause.
It was just a perfect storm for him. I mean, look, you got 2 guys in the top 10, and I bet you Reeves, You know, he was going to go early too. You know, playmaking ball handler that can knock down an open shot at that size, and he can defend.
Yeah, I think I might have fell. And this isn't like me to do this all the time, but I probably kind of fell for the hype a little bit with Reed Shepherd. I'm not out on him by any means. I was always higher on Dillingham than I was Reed Shepherd, to be honest. But I kind of was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and trust Stone. If you know his draft philosophy is, I mean, look at his draft history. I mean, yeah, he's been pretty good. So I figured,
bring them all up. You're not allowed to just bring up the 3 hits that he had at the end of the draft.
Sure. We can bring up the Tatas, the Garubas, the Josh Christophers. Yeah, we can bring all of them up.
They got to come.
Yeah, for sure. That ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
And I trust Stone better in 10 to 20 than I trust him 1 through 5.
All right, you know why that's a good thing? Because in our state right now,
we're winning.
When we're winning and we have to pick in them spots, you trust him to draft a solid role player, and you'll be comfortable not paying or overpaying for certain guys.
Certainly understand that.
So yes. I'll give him that. But man, I would have if we stayed at 3 and let's say we picked Dillingham, you would have had the same defensive issues. First of all, well, one issue you wouldn't have is Dillingham is not shy. That's Reed's biggest problem. Forget the defense. His biggest problem is he's a little shy. He's a little too
doesn't make up for it, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't make up for it in other ways. And he was drafted more than anything else. He was drafted to shoot the ball. He's not exactly doing that. And then you go and you see Dillingham, even though Dillingham has been inconsistent, right? Typical rookie guard, whatever. But you see his flashes though. Them flashes are real. And I see what's coming down the line for Dillingham. And he's gonna look like a steal for wherever they got him at.
We're about to see it tonight.
Man, he might be a problem for us tonight, especially when his former teammate check in. You're gonna be like, "Oh, there's you over there? Oh, come get this bucket right quick. I know you can't defend me. I used to give you buckets at practice." I know that's what Dillingham thinking in his mind. That's like his mentality. Love me some Rob Dillingham, man. But it is what it is. What's done is done. We really can't change none of that. But
I mean, with it now, you know, I just don't. I like what you said, that you haven't given up on him. I don't know that I haven't given up on him, but I may have given up on him in a Rockets uniform.
That's understandable.
Yeah, because if you really look at it, man, I mean, we just talked about how bad Fred is needed, right? We need Fred back. We need Fred back for his stretch run. It's more and more every day looking like we're going to re-sign him. So if you re-sign Fred next year and you're going for it, right, maybe the next year, there's just not a lot of developmental time in there for Reed, and there's obviously not going to be a lot of leash. So then you're going into the next year and you're going to have to pay him. What do you pay Shepherd with a 10-minute stretch? Let's say even if he does shoot 35% from 3.
35 ain't enough. If you're going to be
in year 2, 35, and then gets it up to 37, 38, he's just a come in and shoot guy, right? I mean, he's really not a starter point guard, right?
I mean, they don't play him as a point anyway. It doesn't mean he can't develop that in due time. But listen, for as much as he's given up, he needs to be a 40% three-point shooter, no less.
Thank you.
No less, because you don't play enough to come in and get away with shooting 35% from 3. And you're not really running the offense like that. You don't really have the analytics excuse of the plus minus garbage that people like to use. Not that it's totally garbage, but some people like to justify that one way or the other when they like somebody and try to use a plus minus. You can't even use that. Like, think of every excuse that people use to, stand for whatever player they like. You can't even use none on Reed Shepherd. You can't. There's no flash that we can hang on and be like, remember this game, this situation, and this type of context. He was producing then. Man, we ain't even seen that.
That's right.
Hopefully it's just like, him just, still adjusting to the speed of the game, and he gets in a lab in the summer. Hopefully he don't go back to Kentucky at all in the summer. Hopefully he stay in Houston and just stay with the training staff and work dedicatedly on where he needs to improve coming in the 25-26 season. And again, we're talking all this right now. He messed around and have a 25-point game tonight.
Yeah,
which would be nice. I mean, after All-Star break is usually when a lot of these rookies start to snap out of it, and they're like, oh, okay, I got a little break from the season. I'm not used to playing this many games. It's a break. We ain't played in a week. Got with the coaching staff. We went over some film. All right, these are the adjustments I need to make. Let's see if that translates to the court. That's what I want to see from Reed. Like, he seemed like a smart kid, like a smart player. Like, he's not out there. It's not like he's out there and you're like, what is this idiot doing? Like, he's not doing nothing like that.
Well, he had the one boneheaded shot.
Oh, yeah.
When we need him.
But he hasn't had enough of those for me to be like, yeah, this guy's a complete moron. Like, he's not, like, he ain't on no KPJ type IQ. You know what I mean?
No,
he's not like that, bro. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna trust in his Kentucky-ness. I said the same thing about Ty Washington, but Ty really didn't get a fair shake on a bad team because of Daishen Nix and KPJ. Anyway, let's not even. Why did I even bring up that era again, bro? Now I gotta go take blood pressure medicine at my young age. Jesus Christ.
Bring him back.
Ty. He better reach up right now. But that's today.
What about N'Faly Dante? Would you bring him up and give him a look?
Yeah.
He had like 29 the other night, didn't he?
Like, I want to see him get on the court, like, because he brings a dimension that nobody else does. Like, to me, part of justifying somebody's playing time that's not playing is whatever their skill set is. Do they bring something that the lineup could use? N'Faly Dante does that. He's a athletic big man who can sit out there and block shots, get rebounds, and play above the rim. Nobody else on our roster does that. Nobody. Well, no big man.
I could appreciate that as a coach. Like if you're trying to teach your guys to, like, be in position to block shots, and you're doing all this and they just ain't doing it. And they, you know what? Just put somebody in there for 2 plays that can block a shot. I don't care what he looks like, what his name is. I could appreciate that if I was Ime, to call on N'Faly Dante to come in there and teach them, or show these guys how bad he really doesn't care and how bad he really will play N'Faly Dante so he can get a block shot. Man.
What if he's just a Bruno Fernando? Which, in my opinion, Bruno Fernando wasn't even bad. It's just he shouldn't have been playing over Alperen Sengun. Bruno Fernando wasn't even bad.
He offered what we don't have right now again, right?
Yep.
A little bit of shot blocking, a little bit of rim protection, and a lob threat.
And he had a high-ass motor. And if you're a big man who's athletic and a high-ass motor, you will always have some role. Like, where is Bismack Biyombo?
He got signed.
Who? To who? I didn't even see that.
He got signed somewhere.
Man, that guy would have been really good on the Rockets, man. He could set a screen too. Shit.
Block shots. Block out.
He blocked hella shots. Like, everywhere he's been, he's produced. Like, he's played his role really well. I just don't understand why he can't stick with a team. I don't get it. Like, you're not, is it the offense? Is it because he can't hit nothing from the outside? Well, our current center right now, Alperen Sengun, really doesn't hit anything from the outside. But he does enough for other stuff where it's like, it doesn't really matter too much. Like, I just need somebody, like, we need more, like, guys who complement the skill sets of our starters, man.
Ooh,
we have a lot of redundancy on this roster.
Certainly.
That's why Jabari missing was glaring.
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
My, oh my. And folks didn't appreciate it early. They appreciated it when we start losing. And see, now I'll tell you what the problem is. Because we were winning for a little bit, people thought Jabari was expendable. If you look how we was winning, we was in close games. Look at our point differential before Jabari went down. When he went down, our point differential shrunk. It's been going down at a steady tick. And then a lot of them close games, when we started losing them, that's when people started to take notice, like, man, we need Jabari. We needed him when we was winning too. We didn't just need him just after we was losing. We needed him then too. But
he's got a good calming effect out there too. You know, him and Fred are both good at that. You know, it seems like when you're stagnant and you just can't do nothing, Jabari might be able to knock you down a shot at the elbow. He can get his own at points, you know, as long as you get him into the right spot. And sometimes he can calm down a little bit. You know, he can calm us down. He can knock down an elbow jumper for us kind of when we need a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
I think I really missed that. You know, I noticed that, you know, obviously you noticed it when Fred's out, but I really started realizing that when Jabari first went down, it's like, man, you know, we really get stagnant. It just keeps continuing. And I thought, how do they usually get out of it? You know, it used to be they would just say, all right, Jabari, you go in the corner, driving kick, and he'd shoot over somebody. And he'd knock one down. It's just kind of calming effect. He had a very good pressure aspect to his game that he can knock down when you really, really need one.
And he was low-key very consistent.
Very clutch, too.
He didn't get too high or too low. He was just steady.
Steady breed.
Steady and reliable. Now, before we get to this...
oh, yeah, we got to get to the game, man.
Yeah, before we get to the game, I kind of want your thoughts on what you expect schematically to change moving forward for the rest of the season. Like, what would you do? I'm putting the Ime Udoka hat on you right now. You are now Chris Udoka. All right, coach. What changes are we going to make from what we were doing before All-Star break? What changes are we making? Be it roster, be it schematic. What are you changing, Mr. Udoka?
I don't think I'm changing much. I'm just picking up the pace. I think I'm going to get into my sets just a little bit quicker, and we're going to have to play with more pressure and ball pressure, and we're going to have to play through this fatigue. In order, what got us to winning games is that we outplayed everybody, right? And I think that's what he's on. We're going to have to get back to outplaying everybody. That gives us a chance to win every game. Now, whether shots fall or not starts to change whether the dynamic of how we win those games. If we can, you know, play harder than the other team and knock down shots, we're really, really good. You know, when you got guys that want to give 50% and you have a really good Jalen game, we're decent. And it just shows that when we have a full roster that we can really come at you in waves, in different ways, different varieties of players and different types of players, offensively and defensively. We can throw different styles at you. So I think if the best thing to do is just stay healthy, try to get our rotations a little more set and a little more firm so these guys can get more into a rhythm and kind of develop bigger chemistry, but play a little bit faster like we did last year. We kind of picked up the pace there, and try to get into our sets just a little bit quicker. What new sets were actually brought in, we weren't able to kind of get into when Fred went down. So I think we're going to have to kind of get in to see a little bit of that, and then we're going to pick up the pace. I think pick up the pace, and we'll see if we can't score a little bit quicker, get into our sets, and play a lot more physical on defense.
Okay. So pretty much back to the basics of what got us to the second seed. So we're not necessarily changing anything. We're just kind of more refreshing. We're just really just getting healthy because the decline started when folks was.
Well, would you say the process was bad early in the season?
I thought the process was slow.
Sluggish offense at times, but would you say the process was bad?
The process was slow. I wouldn't say it was bad. I just think it was slow.
Okay. So
I complained about it for like half the season, getting into our sets too late, and then not having any type of variety in the offensive sets. We started to change that a little bit when Fred started taking a little bit of a back seat, and Jalen was healthy. He was doing his thing. I think everything started to make more sense, and then Amen Thompson started to play a lot more. He wasn't starting yet because Jabari was still starting, but he started to play a lot more, and I thought that was a big boon to both offense and defense. So I think we're probably going to get right back to that starting tonight against the Timberwolves, man. I think
Right.
I don't think I think what's killed us against the Timberwolves this season is like lack of focus down the stretch. Because we already beat them once, and then the last couple of times you could say Rockets lost focus down the stretch and swallowed the L. I think that changes tonight. I think Amen Thompson and Alperen Sengun rubbing shoulders with great players this past weekend is going to do wonders for their confidence, and I'm sure they got a lot of game from these older guys who've been there, done that, and they're going to add some things to their game as far as not necessarily a move, but they're going to add some IQ points to their game that they already had. They already have high. Those are two already high IQ players. They're going to add to that even more. And we're going to see some of that displayed tonight. I don't know what the starting lineup is going to be. I haven't checked. Let me see if I can check right quick, actually. I ain't heard no news.
Bashard asked him, and he didn't give him no answer about permanent. He said he was still looking at it.
All right, so right now, so Barry is playing tonight. It was just Fred and Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller don't count until I see him on the bench. I ain't even seen him on the bench. But it looked like Rudy Gobert out, Dante DiVincenzo out, Julius Randle out. That's what it says.
Oh, mercy.
It might be capped, though. And honestly, him being out might not even be the worst thing for them, because now they're going to play with a spread floor and give our defense all kind of problems. But with Barry back, I think we cut down a bunch of garbage. Matter of fact, when Barry plays, if I'm not mistaken, I think the numbers back this up. When Barry plays, we give up a lot less three-point attempts. Especially when he's at the 5. We give up a lot less three-point attempts.
Because we switch everything. I think that's another thing. We don't have that switch everything lineup that's truly switchable.
And a lot of times, if you remember, even in the last Minnesota game, and in the I forgot there was another game too where this held true. I think it was the Nets game. So in both of them games down the stretch, usually like Ime will sit LP for about 5 minutes, throw Jabari at the 5 until the last I think the last 3 minutes or 4 minutes or so, where they can't foul. Forgot how many. I think it's 2 minutes. Was it 2 minutes? However the hell, they'll go for like a good 5 minute stretch with Jabari at the 5 at the end of some of these games in the fourth quarter, and that either protects a lead or it builds a lead. And then LP comes back in, puts the finishing touches on them, and boom, voila, we got a dub. Because LP's low key a good closer, low key. I don't think people realize that.
Especially when he sees that the kick out pass is on double teams too late in game.
Yeah. And he's
nasty with it.
He's like a running back. He's like a good running back. Like he gets stronger as the game goes. He may start a little slow, but
I can't wait to give this to you. He may just making fun of everybody by now. Thompson, Green, Tari, Dillon, Sengun.
Thompson, Green. Wait, what? Wait.
Thompson, Green, Eason, Brooks, Sengun. Barry is not starting.
So Barry not starting. So Tari gonna start.
He's doing the same thing. Ime doing the same thing right now.
What boy you man?
He's laughing at him. He goes, they keep asking me about this shit. Son, I got something for him. You know what? Tari's starting tonight.
So that's official?
Permanent.
It's official?
No. Yeah, the Rockets posted that.
Oh, the Rockets posted that.
They posted that as a starting lineup. That is just, I guarantee you, Ime is somewhere laughing at us right now.
You know what? I'm not gonna say nothing. Let's give it a chance.
I'm not saying nothing about it either. I just think it's hilarious.
I think it is hilarious because I'm like, come on, bro. Like
Murray and Amid, he should have let Amid be on the bench too. He should have started like Aaron Holiday at the point and let Barry.
He did that against the Warriors, right? But Aaron Holiday had a nice little game, though. I ain't gonna lie.
He did 25.
Yeah,
but
25.
Man, I think he'd be messing with the people on the things because we so worried about it, man. We ask questions about the starting lineup, and genuinely probably does not care. Has he ever really cared? I don't think he's ever really cared. I think he cares about the closing lineups, and he ain't afraid to bench you early and leave you out. But
you know what's interesting to me? I'll say this: with this starting lineup being what it is, who's the first off the bench?
Barry. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want to. It's perfect. It really is perfect. You just really and truly use Bari and Tari. Just kind of keep them on and off, right? And maybe go with a little bit of it, maybe 10 minutes of Bari at the 5, and then give him his other 15 minutes at the 4. Give Tari 25 at the 4. There's your lineups there's your 4 spot, right? So
we really got to see.
I think that works out for the minutes.
Because Tari can't play a whole lot of minutes neither because they got to manage this. I think he probably starting because he's not going to play tomorrow more than likely.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is. Yeah, so, but I one thing I really need to see is I need to see that starting lineup, but swap Bari with Tari. I need to see what that look like. Because in theory, we get a lot of complementary basketball in that kind of a lineup. Yeah,
you ain't kidding, man.
Because sometimes Tari can have a little CTE on offense, where he just kind of,
hijacks the possession.
Yeah, and then you got him and Dylan. Like you got 2 guys who are not like really keen on moving the ball like that in a lineup. Like at least I'm not saying a guy's got to go and get assists, but when the ball touches your hand and you ain't got nothing, Bari is more than willing to get off the ball. Dylan be thinking he Kobe sometimes.
He's in it. He's going.
Dylan got some of that J.R. Smith in him.
That's a fact.
Yeah, he got some J.R. Smith in him. And he'll have a game or two where it look good on offense, but usually when he does that, we're not blowing teams out. The game is close.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's when he has to.
I hate that he ever has to.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yep.
And honestly, if it was Jabari hijacking possessions like that, I would be fine with it.
Yeah, I would too, right? And why? Because the age, right? And you can see what he can unlock.
Yeah, let's see. Let him explore his game. We know what Dylan is. Let Jabari explore his game a little bit. He's got a little bit more size. He got a lot more potential than Dylan Brooks. I'd be fine with it, honestly. But because he doesn't, I think it just makes everything make sense. But we'll see, man. Hopefully we can get this dub tonight. I know we didn't do like a conventional pregame. I wanted to do something a little different today. But we're going to do a halftime show, though. I don't know if you're going to pull up. But I'm going to be on at halftime, y'all. Be sure to pull up. We're going to get to this game. We're going to get this dub. Quick prediction. Quick final score. What you got?
Give me 127, 121 Rockets.
That's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. Make my stomach hurt. That is a lot of points, boy. I'm gonna say more 114, 109 Rockets.
I like that.
Yeah, because I think it'll be close because Minnesota wants playoff position, and the Rockets are trying to get back in the thick of things. So it's going to be but Gobert out, but I think that's going to make their offense a lot better. So that 109 might actually not make no sense. It might be like 113, 114. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Transfer those shots to Naz Reid. He's not going to knock them down.
Yeah, and he'll likely knock them down. Yeah. But yeah, man, we'll be back on at halftime. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. And what you going to do? You're going to all come back again. See you at halftime. We out.